watermelon. And this time of the year, it's really plenteous. You can get it a lot of stores. There's some places that are better than others. My wife has an amazing ability to pick out watermelon. Several places that she looks, the stem, the bottom, sugar spots, these things. She does the picking, I do the eating. And when you cut open these things, I want to tell you, I learned this from my grandma. My favorite spot is right here, this part here. The closer you get to the rind, it's not quite as sweet. The center part is where all the sugar is. She would cut them the other way and then cut a V out and eat the heart right out, because that's where the sweet spot is. That's where all the sugar is, right there. And this is a lot like our Christian life is. We want to be as close as possible to the center of God's will, not out here in the rind area. This part here, after she would get done eating the heart out, we would throw that to the hogs, and they would eat all this part here. We now give it to the horses, and they eat that part. But it's this part that is so absolutely delicious, and I know that you will probably agree. Our text this morning is in Jeremiah. We find ourselves in Jeremiah 9, 23 and 24, and this really is, if you look at this part, this is the heart of the watermelon. This is the heart, as it were, of God. He says, "Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches." So God's telling us what not to do. So what do we do? Verse 24, "But let him that glory in this, that he understand and knoweth me, that I am the Lord, which exercise loving kindness and judgment and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord." So, what are we to glory in? Are we to glory in our wisdom, in our strength, in our wealth? No. These are the things that are the rind of life. And we see this is in the New Testament in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 7. It says, "Do not look on the things in the outward appearance." So we're not to focus on these outward appearance things. If you take a look at the things that he mentions here, wisdom and strength and riches, these things are fleeting. But it is the things that you focus on when you're really, really young. You're in school and you're trying to get some knowledge. You're trying to work out. You're involved in sports. The whole idea is to get you set up so you can get this great job and get a great salary. Our whole system is set up to give people rind. And so when they hit their midlife, they realize this is not the sweetness that I desire. I'm unsatisfied. And so God tries to give us some wisdom here. And it's very interesting because Israel, they're back in the land, the temple set up, they're doing temple worship, but they're trusting on the wrong things. You can have, as it were, everything perfect in life and completely miss the point. Miss the point. Also in the New Testament, 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 31, it says, "That according as it is written, he that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord." When we look at verse 24, it's that glory in the Lord is understanding and knowing him. And he doesn't leave us adrift as what this understanding looks like. It's his loving kindness, his judgment, and his righteousness. We are called to know him in those ways. We are called to know his loving kindness. What does that look like? Out of all the people on the planet, God's people should be loving, but many times we are not, because we're not experiencing the love that he provides. And also his judgment. When we look at the world, do we judge it from a legalistic kind of a way? Are we just passive? Or do we have a righteous judgment? If we understand him, we will have righteous judgment, and then righteousness. Do we know how to live righteously? And it may seem rather complicated, but really the point is that if we walk with God, if we seek Him in everything we do, then we will. Yesterday I mentioned not being the hero of our own story. I want to tell you that if we understand that being in the center of His will is this sweetness here, then what we're going to do is we're going to rave to people about our God as we would if we found a good watermelon. It'd be like, man, this is where you need to go. You need to go to this place, and this is what you need to look at. When you take a look at the watermelon, look at this, and then you're going to get that kind of sweetness. We will glory in Him. We'll be in a pattern in our day to where we'll look to Him for direction and guidance. Not our connections, not our influence, not our wisdom, not our strength, not our wealth. We'll look to Him. If you don't know Him in a way to where you can feel that you can call on Him, if you've never been saved, I would encourage you to take care of that business today. That's really, really the first step. If you're going to know Him, you need to know Him through salvation. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believe in Him shall be saved. Will you trust in the Lord today? May God richly bless you.